Hi and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. This is a B-movie review and I'll be having a look at the movie Under the Bed. So Under the Bed is a kind of B-movie horror film about a creature who lives, you've guessed it, under the bed. And the story focuses on two brothers, the older of which has been sent away because people think he's crazy because he's been having run-ins with this kind of monster in his younger life and ultimately set fire to his house trying to kill it. And ultimately that ended in the death of his mother. So he comes back a little later after spending time with his aunt, and he comes back to his town. There's kind of rumours going around that he's a bit crazy and whatnot. And his younger brother's obviously a little bit older now, and the story really focuses initially on them kind of bonding and sort of the older brother finds out that the younger brother is actually now seeing the same creature, and the creature isn't dead and is now sort of terrorising this younger brother. And it actually happens whenever they sort of go to sleep in this particular room. The creature sort of comes out and sort of terrorises them and doesn't really do anything specific with it, we're told. He just kind of hangs around and basically just scares them. There's a few theories thrown around that he's kind of preparing maybe to sort of try and attack after a prolonged period of just sort of scaring him, I guess. But the problem with this film maybe is that it doesn't really explain a hell of a lot to you. The other thing with this film, obviously, you've got the dad is kind of remarried and they have his new wife trying to sort of bond with the kids as well. Really, the first sort of 3/4 of this film is really these two sort of kids being parented very badly by the dad and sort of locked in their room overnight, having to sort of face this sort of creature under the bed, which no one else seems to hear in the house when it's growling and knocking stuff over and stuff like that. And eventually we come to the end of the film, which I'm not going to spoil, don't worry, but suffice to say, it really turned into a relatively sort of gory creature on the loose film. What's the film like? Well, it's got some good ideas, I've got to say. I did quite enjoy it, and it has some sort of fairly sort of spooky moments, and there's some particularly good camera shots where this creature's actually sort of wrapped up in bedclothes, and it does look very menacing, and some fantastic lighting effects there, and done on a very meagre budget. I have to say it is quite an atmospheric film. The acting, especially for the two young leads, I think is good. Particularly the younger brother. I think his name's Purley. Really good actor. I think he's probably got a good future in Hollywood there. So he'll be one to look out for. There's a few sort of supporting characters. They're all okay, but I say the standouts here are the two boys. The effects of the monster as well, when you actually see him sort of in the kind of the last sort of quarter of the film, really fairly decent, and I say it's nice gooey practical effects. But the problem with the film here is simply it takes a little while to actually get going, so maybe it gets a little bit boring in some places, I have to say, in sort of the initial run up to the sort of inevitable climax. But at the same time, it does still give that kind of that sense of foreboding, and it has a sort of a few moments here and there where it is a little bit scary and kind of a little bit, jump out of your seat moments. The last section of the film really sort of changes focus dramatically, and as I say, kind of is more of a sort of a creature in the rampage film. But it's very difficult to understand what's actually happening, because we're given no explanation of what the creature is, where it's come from, why it's attacking these two boys specifically, and why no one else is seen to get attacked by it, and why the creature wasn't killed in the first place when the house burnt down, and what the creature actually wants. It's the biggest issue I guess I have, that maybe is a bit of a nitpick, is the way the film is kind of wrapped up. Literally comes out of nowhere, and how the kind of how can I say, how it climaxes really is just bizarre and kind of a little bit stupid. It just looks like they kind of the film's just like, well, okay, we need to end this film quickly. Let's just think of something to end the film with. So it kind of is a bit of a waste of potential. It's certainly not a bad film, I have to say. And there's some decent elements in there, but I just think maybe it's a little bit, the direction isn't particularly great, or the script maybe is kind of missing a few beats here and there. So I think it could have been a pretty decent film if a few things had been addressed. But it has the basis of being fairly good. I say reasonable acting, reasonable effects, and reasonable camera work. It just sometimes maybe, as I say, the direction of the script was a bit lacking in this one. So I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 10. I quite enjoyed it, and I think if you're a horror buff, you kind of make it a kick out of it, especially if you're kind of into the sort of like the kind of monster squad, gremlins, that kind of thing. So let me know what you thought of it. Leave me a comment. I look forward to you next time. Bye for now.